Hi, me Thaathu, and this is Thaathu Podcasts. Hi guys, welcome back to a brand new episode of Thaathu Podcasts. Before moving on with this week's episode, I wanted to take some time out to thank you for all the love and support that you've given to the episode last week. It really means a lot to me. It's a topic that I'm very passionate about. It's a topic that I've been wanting to talk about for a long time, and thank you so much for spreading the word. So it means a lot to me. So I just wanted to take some time out to thank you for all the love and support. So yeah, let's move on with this week's topic. So did you know that South Championship happened this month? Yeah, I know. I never thought I would witness a day when South Championship was on and us, the Maldivians, the supposed ones with football in our blood, would not have any hype about it. But here we are. Kind of weird, to be honest. I did try to explore why Maldivian football isn't that hyped up in a previous episode of the podcast as well. You can check it out if you're interested in that. I basically tried to explore reasons for the died down hype with sports journalist Thaathu. You can check out episode 14 if you're into that. But this time around, I noticed that it's just not us Maldivians who doesn't really care about football anymore. I feel like it's become more of a regional thing at this point. If I am to talk about South Asian football, I would like to first highlight India because, come on, they deserve it, right? They are really the unbeatable force in the South Asian football field. They have showcased their skills by winning South Championship, I think, 9 times out of the 14 times the tournament has been held, and they have been runner-ups for 4 times, I think. Yeah, so that's like they've been on the top of the game since the beginning of South Championship, at least. It's quite impressive if you ask me. Currently, India sits at the 100th spot in the FIFA rankings, while other South Asian countries, we're trying hard to go above the 150 mark in the FIFA ranking. In the 2022-2023 season, we saw a notable increase in the number of South Asian players in elite English football. I think ITV quotes that there was a 12.6% of an increase in South Asian players in English football. That's a win. Yeah, it shows their skills and their dedication towards football. But have you wondered why South Asian teams, why they haven't been able to make significant improvement on the international football field? I feel like mismanagement, lack of investments, and political influencers, it has stalled the growth and development of football in the South Asian countries. I feel like the domestic leagues within the South Asian countries, it's a key reason why South Asian football isn't able to go where it can go. Because a domestic league definitely plays an important role in the development of the sport in any country. If you look at Nepal, a short period league and the limited duration of that league, it doesn't provide sufficient opportunities for players to, showcase their skills and grow as professionals. The country lags behind in football because of the absence of a clear and defined targets for them to, reach and achieve. For them, it becomes challenging to set goals and work towards achieving them without a long-term vision. Interestingly, a similar scenario unfolded in the Maldives as well. Our domestic league wasn't really working for us, and to address these issues in the domestic league, we introduced a dream league. I remember watching that press conference and I was like, oh my god, this is going to be amazing. Maldivian club football is going to make a comeback, It was like they introduced the Dream League with multiple zones. It was like spread across the country. It definitely was a significant step towards expanding football beyond the capital city of Male. The initiative aimed to focus on youth development and talent identification from an early age. But when I say Dream League, I definitely do mean Dream League because it's still been a dream for every one of us. We haven't surprisingly seen a single match played in a league since last August. I'm not talking about the Dream League, I'm talking about any league in general. We have not played a single league game since August last year. Yeah, it's 0 games. Can you imagine? We can't really blame our players and our coaches for our performance in the SAF Championship this year, right? It's unfortunate if you ask me. In addition to, whatever these issues with the domestic leagues, I feel like another important problem that downs the South Asian football is the mismanagement and terrible leadership within the football associations of South Asian countries. It doesn't only limit to Maldives again. The All Nepal Football Association, it was established with the mandate to promote football from the grassroots, but it has been stained with mismanagement and corruption stories. The power struggle during Kapa's reign took its toll on the game and the players, leaving a significant impact on the football scene in Nepal. It highlighted the deep-rooted issues within the Nepal Football Association, and I feel like it's something we can relate to as well. If you're turning our attention to Sri Lanka, we find that the administrators during the growth period of the country, which was in the 1950s to the 1970s, they were ill-prepared to handle the development of football. They lacked necessary technical knowledge and resources to, support the growing popularity of football in the country. And this became a major setback for the sport, leading to its downfall in the country, unfortunately. And similarly, power struggles among football stakeholders in the Maldives also has disrupted the flourishing football talent in the country. I mean, when you look at the football players individually, you feel like, oh my God, these people are amazing. They're good. Considering the amount of opportunities they've got, considering the amount of training they've got, they're doing amazing. The Maldives Football Association, FAM, it has faced several issues, including a lack of executive committee meetings, indefinite postponement of long-term football tournaments that we grew up watching, money and payment problems. It's been such a mess, to be honest, and the clubs who spoke out against whatever that was going on has been facing penalties. I mean, if I'm not wrong, clubs like New Radiant Sports Club and Victory Sports Club were banned, I think, from the league, if I'm not wrong. At least they were given penalties, apparently for alleged payment issues with their coaches, with their players, while FAM itself has failed to pay the national coach, according to the news that's been coming out. Clubs like New Radiant Sports Club and Victory Sports Club are like the pioneering clubs in the Maldivian football and the club football, and they are probably the source of producing good football players in the country. And to think that they were given penalties just because they spoke out against what was going on, it's simply, I don't know. I don't have words to describe how I feel about that. In addition to that, let's just not talk about the political influences and the level it has reached. At one point of time, there was a political office that was being operated inside the FAM building in the Maldives. Yeah, that is one of the major problems in the Maldivian football scene, the political influence. And it only does not limit itself to the Maldives. If you look at other South Asian countries, it's still the same situation. If you look at India, in August 2022, FIFA took a step by banning All India Football Federation due to quote-unquote flagrant violations of the FIFA Act caused by quote-unquote undue influence from third parties. This decision came as a result of a long-standing issue surrounding the Indian government's implementation of the sports code. Now, the sports code was introduced to address allegations of corruption and governance issues in the sporting federations in India. And as part of this code, the country's Supreme Court disbanded the All India Football Federation and appointed a 3-member committee to oversee the operations. FIFA, in line with its rules prohibiting political interference, they stepped in to address the situation. Leaving political influence aside, let's look at another factor that's affecting South Asian football. It is the lack of investment. Specifically, I want to talk about the lack of proper stadiums and training facilities and financial support for the development of football in whole. If you look at Nepal and Sri Lanka's football, this is something we are able to see in their football scenario. And if you ask me personally, I feel like Indian club football is also going through something in that area. If you look at Nepal, the drawback of the Nepal football today is the absence of a proper stadium to play in. Also, according to the news articles published in Nepal, all Nepal Football Association should focus more on building better training facilities for players and also providing them with more trainers, doctors, and nutritionists. I feel like, to be honest, Maldives could do something in that area as well. These investments are, I feel like, crucial for nurturing talent and enhancing performance of football players. And to talk about funds, Sri Lanka, it seems, has received substantial funds in the past. They have also received technical assistance from countries like Japan, South Korea, and Middle Eastern countries as well. But despite these investments, the expected results have not been materialized. This, I feel like, highlights the need for a strategic planning and effective utilization of these resources to drive football development in the country. I feel like this applies in the Maldives as well. I mean, we see new stadiums, we see new fields being built in the country, but I feel like, are those investments really in line with what's needed in the development of the country? Why not employ those investments in resources which are needed more to develop football in the country? Talking about investments, football sponsorships, yes, I know it plays an important role in the growth of sport, but I also feel like it hinders the development of football in whole as well. If you look at Indian club scene that's been going on right now, in some cases the sponsors and the management, they seem to not be on the same page when it comes to spending on the development of the sport. Indian club football is an example of this. This issue was highlighted when one of the biggest clubs in India, the Kolkata Giants, club management member, one of them, asked the fans for monetary support. It raised questions about the club's financial stability with all of these football sponsorships coming in, and their financial stability and the investment in the player acquisition, and how much say these sponsors have on how they spend their money or how much money they're going to spend on developing football. Another concerning issue with the South Asian football scene is, I feel like, the lack of accountability for actions. Especially, this is something I noticed during this year's SAF Championship pressers. It's really disheartening to see when accountability takes a backseat in these press conferences. The Maldivian coach, for an example, blamed their loss against Bangladesh on alleged food poisoning affecting players. Similarly, Bangladeshi coach also said that their defeat in the finals against Kuwait was because of the presence of Middle Eastern teams in the tournament this year. We also noticed the similar trend with the Pakistani coach as well. It's very crucial for the coaches and the team representatives to take responsibility of their performances and decisions. Shifting blame onto external factors, it not only undermines the spirit of the game, but it also prevents honest reflection and the opportunity to learn and improve. It is quite important for the coaches and the team representatives to embrace that opportunity and to, reflect on their team's performance. I also feel like there is a never-ending cycle of one country's issues being addressed by another country, only for it to be eventually blown up on their faces, causing more troubles within their own systems. But at the core of it all, I feel like the primary culprit still seems to be the mismanagement of football associations in the South Asian countries. They're not fulfilling their intended roles and their responsibilities, which leads to this impact on the development of football in South Asian countries. I feel like the power to save South Asian football lies in the hands of us fans at this point. We have the ability to make a difference by raising our voices and talking about these issues. One important step is to keep the conversation going. We need to openly discuss these mismanagement issues and the shortcomings of football associations. We need to hold them accountable for their actions. I feel like we need to create a demand for change and push for better governance and leadership. Sports journalists, they have the responsibility of doing this. They, I feel like, should highlight and focus more on these issues and holding these associations responsible than, playing their own little inside political games, blaming each other. Collaboration and unity is an essential part of development of the sport. Fans, players, clubs, and associations, we all gotta come together as a united front. I would really love to hear what you think about these issues and what you think could be done to, save the South Asian country from its downfall. I would love to hear your thoughts in the comments below. I'm looking forward to hearing from all of you, and I feel like I've been rambling for a long time now. I feel like I can go on and on about this as well, but I really don't want to bore you with this, so I'm just gonna cut the episode short for right now. If you're interested in such contents, do let me know so that I can keep doing it as well. Thank you so much for tuning in. See you next week. Bye bye.
Now go!